Real quick, the only ask I could ever have of you guys is to help spread the word so we can help more women lose body fat, build muscle, reach their goals, and feel insanely confident. And the only way we can do that is if you rate, review, and share this podcast. So the single thing I ask for you to do is if you could leave a review. It will take you 10 seconds. And it will mean the absolute world to me and may change the world of someone else. I've been seeing a chiropractor for like the last maybe 8 weeks, but I've been experiencing extreme pain in my shoulders. It's my responsibility, in agreement with this partnership that I have with my chiropractor, to go and do specific stability exercises that are going to help to like reform that soft tissue. He's doing his part. I had to do my part, right? It's a two-way street. And there have been many times where I walked into his office and he's like, have you done your exercises? And I full out bluntly say no. The coach can't move you forward in macro adjustments or progressive overload with certain exercises and workouts if you haven't addressed point A. And if you're just lying to yourself and not being fully honest, it's only going to make things harder moving forward. If I was to walk into the office and be like, yeah, I'm doing it, and then he was to give me harder exercises, he's gonna see it right then and there when I'm doing these exercises that it is so hard for me to do because I didn't build upon the foundation of the exercises that we agreed upon doing first. What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Macro Hour with Nikki Stott, co-founder of WarriorBabe. And on this podcast, we talk about mindset, methodologies, and tactics that will help you lose body fat, build muscle, be strong, and feel insanely confident. I am your host, Nikki Stott, and welcome to today's episode 153, where we're going to talk about a topic that actually came up and was inspired for me to bring to this podcast today. Was when I met with my coaching team. And I feel like we talked about this before on the podcast. I can't remember exactly what episode it was. Oh, and by the way, I know I promised an episode on sleep. And I was going to talk about that today, but I know we recorded the episode on sleep. If you guys want to go back and listen to it, it was a solid episode. It gives you some tips and tricks on how to optimize your sleep to get faster muscle gains and fat loss. And that could really be the missing pillar to you guys if you're not seeing the results that you want, but like you're nailing your nutrition, you're hitting the workouts, but you're just like, you feel like there's more you could get. And it could be the factor of you not getting efficient and good quality sleep. And so I talk about all of that in episode 25. So if you're interested in learning all the things on sleep, go to episode 25. But today, what I want to talk about is why I think it is so important to work with a coach. There are so many of you guys out there, and stay with me, there's so many of you guys out there that maybe want to try this on your own. There have been, honestly, shout out to you guys that are inside of the WarriorBabe Facebook community that aren't yet inside of our WarriorBabe programs that are listening to this podcast and achieving incredible, amazing results. You guys are go-getters. You guys are of the 1% that will listen to this and actually apply the things that are being taught. There's a woman that's listening to this podcast that's shared inside the WarriorBabe community. By the way, the WarriorBabe community is a free community, guys, so come on in. It's on Facebook. But she just shared that she has been listening to to the podcast through and through for a couple of months now, and she's lost 18 pounds. Like, shout out to you, babe. That's freaking incredible that you applied the things from this podcast, which you guys, that's like a testament that all of this information that I'm sharing with you, you can apply it to yourself and you can see some incredible results. It just takes like the really like dedicated individual, the one that wants it, the disciplined person that like truly wants to change to apply this. And then there's the others that I would say that are like the 95, 99% that, and honestly, this was me at the beginning of my journey. I didn't have the right tools or the right resources to do this the right way. And that's why like I love giving this podcast to you guys. I love pouring into you guys and telling you guys the right way to do things, because at the beginning of my journey, this podcast is what I wish I had. So like I'm giving this to you guys knowing that this is helping 1, 10, 20, 50 of you guys that are listening to it. Maybe all of you guys, I don't know. I appreciate all of the love that this podcast is getting. But anyway, I give this to you guys because I hope that you'll walk away actually implementing the things. But of like the 95 to 99 people, especially the percent of women that are inside of WarriorBabe, that are a part of our programs, and me at the beginning of my journey. Like, I hired a coach because the things that I was trying to do myself, again, I didn't have the right tools or the right resources. Like, I wish I had the understanding that I have now then, and that's why I'm sharing all this with you guys. Anyway, by the way, I shared this on my Instagram story. So if you guys follow me on my Instagram story, 3 days ago, I stopped my obscene amount of caffeine intake, and I have resorted to only giving myself like half of, or actually less than half of what I was consuming. And I'm experiencing the effects. No joke, you guys. Just to be completely transparent, I must have hit record on this podcast probably 15 times before I'm just like, you know what, we're here, we're in it. This is what we're talking about today. It's like 4:30 in the afternoon, had a full packed day of meetings and being with the team and things like that on the backside of WarriorBabe, that I am experiencing the crash of not having the normal caffeine that I have. So bear with me in this podcast. Please stay with me. There's going to be valuable information that comes from it, I know. So for those of you guys that, you know, again, as I'm saying, like, I had a coach at the beginning of my journey too as well, because I wanted to get the right answers. I wanted the answers from the person that was the professional and the person that their whole life was around these concepts, and they had the knowledge, the understanding, and, you know, could help me apply those aspects to my journey that I didn't have. And I wanted to accelerate my ability to get results. So I feel like coaches can help you do that. Like, when you invest in a program, you're investing in a person that has these tools, these resources, this knowledge that is going to hand that off to you to go and apply it. The most important thing, though, is that you apply it. And I think that what I'm going to talk about today are the benefits of what you can get from working with a coach. And the first and foremost, I think what is the most important thing that you gain from working with somebody is how a coach will offer you an objective perspective. Hands down, I think this is one of the most important aspects. Like, the coach will look at your situation from an objective standpoint. And at least how we coach our coaches in WarriorBabe, we try our best to not have our coaches be emotionally invested in your issues. And I say that like very wholeheartedly and very like with love, because the second that a coach gets emotionally invested with somebody, that is frustrated, or that is, giving excuses, or that is some type of way along their journey, and that coach kind of like falls down into that emotion, and then almost what I've seen coaching coaches is they don't even realize it, but they enable that emotion, and that emotion isn't going to help that client get to where they want to be. So instead of being emotionally invested in an excuse or a feeling, the coach can stay on an objective view, looking down. I like to say, like, you're looking down at the situation 30,000 feet up in the air, and you can have an objective stance. And they can provide you unbiased feedback and insights that you may not have considered. If a coach is to come down with you and to almost enable excuses, how is that going to help you along your journey? It is their job and our responsibility, what I looked for in the coach that I was working for them to tell me the opposite of what I was feeling and the opposite of the excuses that I was giving. Because I knew those excuses weren't going to get me anywhere. I knew that I had to have somebody be like, let me talk, let me air it out, let me, word vomit what I'm feeling, and then the coach just stay in their stance of just holding strong, to be honest. And then, give the unbiased feedback, give the perspective from that they're seeing from their professional standpoint that's going to move me and move the client forward, and not have them stuck in this type of, subjective experience, I should say, right? It is just that. Like it's important to have an objective perspective, and to the coach to have an objective perspective outside of the objective reality, essentially, because excuses are excuses are excuses. They're just holding people back from achieving what they can truly achieve in the long run. And so it's a coach's responsibility to have that type of objective and to say flat out, to just call it what it is. Another aspect of what I think is super beneficial to work with a coach is to trust us now and to believe us later. And why I say that is because obviously women coming into a program, they are coming in from maybe the experiences that they've had before, and those experiences didn't turn out the best. And that's why they're here at WarriorBabe, or that's why they're here trying the program. And they kind of come in not trusting the program out of the gate. And so they kind of have all this reserve, and they have all of this apprehension to actually follow through with the things that the coach is telling them to do. So the importance I want you to understand with this one, with trusting us now and believing us later, is to remind you that our job as a coach, and the coaches that are coaching you inside of WarriorBabe, our job is not to make you fat. It is we are not in the professional, so many people come into WarriorBabe, and why I say it that way is they think that by us having them eat carbs, or by us having them, a lot of women come to us that are under eating, so we have to retrain their metabolism to eat more food. And so the concept of eating more food, or eating, if someone's eating only 1,200 calories and they need to eat 1,500 calories, the concept of eating more food always freaks people out because of the way they've come in from other programs. Or they've tried the programs, they've experienced weight loss, and then all of a sudden they've gained that weight back. And so because I think that eating more food, it has done that, and, other factors. But so when people think that, they have a hard time trusting us out of the gate. I need you to understand, for the purposes of the continuation of you listening to this podcast, following me on socials, following WarriorBabe, and maybe even being a part of the WarriorBabe program in the future, the VIP. It is not we would be doing you a disservice if we were making you fat. That is not a part of our, that's not just, I don't know how to say it any better than that. We would not be doing our job if that was what was happening. And so I think that hopefully that lets a little bit of ease come from any of you listeners that, maybe is already a WarriorBabe or is thinking about joining WarriorBabe and knowing the aspects of us wanting you guys to eat more food, is to trust us now and believe us later. Please come into the program, drop all of the things that you were involved with before, the aspects of a dieting program that you tried before, drop everything out of the gate and come in with an open, refreshed mind, and just be open to receive the type of things that we're giving you. The more that you are open to receive coming into the WarriorBabe program, or coming into a program in general, and dropping all of the baggage from other things, is the fastest way for you to implement, to try and to see, and then take the feedback of you trying as either good or bad, and then assess it then, and then come up with a new game plan if you need to, and working very closely with your coach. So that kind of leads me into the next one that I want to talk about. But trust us now, believe us later. Trust us now with the things that we want you to be doing and applying for your life, for you, for the better and good of you getting the results that you want, that we want to have you get. And then believe us later. Believe us when you are doing all these things that you thought were going to blow you up, or you thought were against the norm, or you thought that weren't even fathomable that you could be eating 1,800 calories and losing weight. Trust us now on those things that we want you to implement, and believe us later. Believe us when you maybe had to reassess some things out of the gate with your coach. Believe us when you're getting the results. Believe us when all of the things that we want you to implement are actually what us professionals want you to experience, which is the results that you want to have, to decreasing body fat, to gaining more muscle, to being more toned, to feeling confident in your skin. Okay? Which then leads me into when you out of the gate, once you're trying these things and you're implementing these things with your coach, it's really important to you do have improved communication when you are working with a coach. A coach can help you improve your communication skills, which can benefit you personally and professionally. But I do have to throw in a but there. It is up to you to communicate with your coach how you're feeling, what you're thinking, your fears, your wants, your desires. When a coach tells you that they want you to eat more food, voice how you feel. This is where we will have an objective perspective on your situation and recognize what are stories, what are beliefs, what are false narratives that we can help to give this objective perspective and help you to rewrite the narrative. But you have to communicate. You have to be willing and open to have this type of dialogue with your coach, because we're not mind readers. I will tell you that. I can't read what you are thinking unless, we don't know what we don't know. So you have to share the thoughts. And when you share the thoughts, oh my gosh, seriously, one of the huge benefits I loved working with coaches is with the coach that I worked with is my ability to then improve my communication all around. When I was open and honest with the coach I was working with to get me to be the 3-time champ, 3-time pro, and then go pro, or then beat the pros, words and mind and crashing because of this coffee. Anyway, because of my improved communication and being able to communicate with the coach at that time of my life when I was doing bodybuilding, won the 3 shows, got my pro status, and then got to the pro stage and then beat the pros, my ability to communicate got better and better and better. And not just with my coach, but just for me personally, and then and professionally too as well. So that's another great aspect of it. Obviously, the other components that come with working with a coach is the accountability. A coach can help you stay accountable and motivated. You're not always going to be motivated, but when you have somebody there that's watching you, that you have to show up for on a weekly basis, you have to give them the check-ins, you have to give them the photos, you have to, what we do inside of WarriorBabe is you fill out a biofeedback form. When you have to submit these things on a weekly basis, that is your accountability to stay the course. And then it's the coach's ability to give you support, to give you encouragement, to give you nudges, to give you some tough love, to help you stay on track. Doing it alone, like I said at the beginning, some of you guys are absolutely crushing it alone. That's amazing. You have some type of discipline and determination and internal motivation that a lot of people don't have. They need the extra accountability. They need the push. They need somebody to be telling them what to do. And that's where working with a coach gives you obscene amount of accountability, and then also gives you just a more personalized approach, right? For those of you guys that are listening to podcasts, you're seeing amazing results. Imagine being able to turn it up a notch and to get to work with a coach one-on-one and develop a more personalized approach that takes into account the exact goals that you're going after. The coach gets to see your physique, right? The challenges that you have, the lifestyle demands, how to time manage, the ability to focus wholeheartedly on meal prepping and tracking macros and learning that skill set and abiding to a weekly workout routine that over the course of you doing it for 6 months to a year is going to give you the results that you want. Imagine having that accountability and that type of personalized approach, that wholeheartedly what I believe in, through and through, on top of the other benefits that I already said. But having the accountability and having the personalized approach is what will and can accelerate your results and can accelerate also your learning ability. When you have a professional telling you all the things that are specific to you and then holding you accountable to following through and then telling you, giving you that, literally our coaches here at WarriorBabe, we talk about every single week, what are you telling the clients they need to hear but don't want to hear? That's your accountability. I love having that discussion inside of our team meeting because it also then gives the other coaches, the permission to be direct, to give tough love, to give the encouragement, to say the things that the clients don't want to hear but need to hear. That is how you create like amazing transformations. Like I always say, like any of the coaches that are dealing with, hard, challenging clients, I'm going to be like, dude, you stay in an objective stance, you stay strong, you stay firm, and you give tough love, and you say what they need to say or say what they need to hear. Those will be your best transformations, the best, hands down. A couple of other things I feel like are super beneficial when you work with a coach too, as well, is improved time management. I mean, a coach can help you develop strategies to manage your time more effectively. Like, I can't tell you how many times I hear clients come to coaches with just like squirrel brain, right? And then also the excuse of like, I can't fit in my workout this week because of this and this and this. I'll never forget to like you guys are going to, maybe you have already, actually, you're probably going to hear it this week. We're going to give an interview on one of the clients that I used to coach back in the day that had two sets of twins, both under the age of 4 at this time. She lost 80 pounds during COVID. And she was a doctor in an ER, and she made the time to get her workouts done. And at one point she was doing workouts outside on her kids' jungle gym with the TRX bands. Like, wherever there's a way, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And I helped her with ability to make sure she got her workouts done. So when you're, working with a coach and they're able to take into account the daily demands you have of your responsibilities with life, family, work, they can make sure that and hold you accountable to blocking the time out that you are going to have set for your workout and sticking to it. So, those are just some, I feel like, amazing benefits of working with a coach. Obviously, the objective perspective, the improved communication, the trust me now, believe us later, trust us now, believe us later, the accountability, the personalized approach, the time management, the increased confidence. When you're working with a coach, it helps you build your confidence in your abilities to actually do the things that you say you're going to do, especially out of the gate when you haven't done like tracking macros or you haven't done specific strength training exercises. The way you are going to increase your confidence is obviously your coach is telling you that you have to do these things, but then you actually following through on doing those things is how you build confidence. Hey, just want to drop a huge appreciation to you guys listening to the show. It means a lot. I hope you guys are enjoying it, and there's so much more to come with it. If you are enjoying it, hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate that tons. And also, it would help this podcast reach others who need to hear these messages too. So when you are experiencing challenges, or, you are needing to take certain types of actions to help you achieve your goals, they can help you take on these challenges to pursue your goals, to get the results that you want with greater conviction. And it's like, I don't know, it just working with a coach just makes sense in my opinion. Even coaches have coaches. For the longest time when I was coaching clients, I still had a coach because of all of these reasons. It just helps me, most importantly, stay on track, stay committed, and follow through. Now, as I mentioned in previous episodes, like I've developed an obscene amount of discipline, and I've been 10 years into my journey that I've been able to just follow through on my own, because I feel a type of way if I don't about myself. That keeps me motivated to keep going. So, but if you're just starting out on your journey and you need help on all of these things, working with a coach gives you the ability to accelerate these things and accelerate the behavior changes that you have to make in order to get the results that you want, along with the habits and but most importantly, like the tactical things, like just following through on doing the things. And then the coach has the knowledge and the skill set to tell you all the things that you need to do in order to achieve your goals. Okay. So thanks for bearing with me on that podcast. I'm experiencing a major crash right now because of not having this caffeine, but I hope that made sense. I really hope that, you see the benefits of working with a coach. I think it's really freaking important that and then like listening to your coach, like I think, and then taking extreme ownership, which I could just spiral now and go on a rant. But there was an awesome coaching call that our coaches did inside the community yesterday on like the buckets of, what is needed what we feel like how we're intrinsically motivated on certain things. But one of them, like it was a bucket, I may be saying that completely wrong, but it was a bucket on extreme ownership. There's like a component of this that you get with working with a coach, but then there's a component that like you have to have as a human when you are working with a coach. You have to be open, you have to be transparent, you have to be honest, but most importantly, like you have to take extreme ownership along your journey. That if you want to accelerate your results too as well. Because if you're not being honest with yourself, you're most likely not being honest with your coach. And there is going to be a major block in your ability to communicate, for your coach to communicate, and then for you to be able to go execute on the things that you need to execute on. Because like what I've seen, this has happened to me many times, is clients will tell me that they are doing tracking the macros on a weekly basis. And then I can go on their logs in MyFitnessPal and I can see that's not happening. But then after like week 4 of me knowing that like where they're at with their calorie intake should be facilitating results, at week 4, week 5, when I'm not seeing the type of change that I need to be seeing, I will and have wholeheartedly been like, you need to be straight up and honest with not only me, but yourself right now. Are you following the macros that we have set consistently? It's okay if like you missed a day or two, but like majority of the time you've been consistent. And I have experienced people flat out tell me no. And like I've had to confront that situation head on. And what I can say to you guys, like if that's how you feel and like you're not being honest in the situation, you're not being honest with yourself, you're most likely not being honest with the coach, you have to take extreme ownership. When you take extreme ownership, you take extreme responsibility for your actions, and you stop blaming outside external circumstances. You stop blaming the program. You stop blaming and giving energy to excuses. You stop the victim mentality and you take ownership that actually you're just not following through with said things that the coach is telling you that you need to do. Perfect example, actually. I've been recently going to a chiropractor because this could actually be an entire freaking episode. But this thought just gave me tons of energy. Perfect example though, you guys. And I'm going to be honest and transparent and vulnerable with you because I want you guys to be able to do the same thing. I've been seeing a chiropractor for like the last, I don't know, maybe 8 weeks because I am actually probably going to take this into another episode, but I've been experiencing extreme pain in my shoulders to the point where I haven't been able to progress moving forward. And so we've been specifically working on obviously adjusting, and then he goes into soft tissue muscle massage on specific areas of my like traps and rhomboids that are super weak, that just need that type of soft tissue pressure to kind of like correct what's going on that way. And then it's my responsibility, in agreement with this partnership that I have with my chiropractor, and this is the same thing that you have with your coach, to go and do specific stability exercises that are going to help to like reform that soft tissue and make it stronger. But I can't like he's doing his part. I had to do my part, right? It's a two-way street. And there have been many times where I walked into his office and he's like, have you done your exercises? And I full out bluntly say, no, I have not been doing it. And he's like, you know what? I totally appreciate that full open honesty. Like it helps me understand where we're at in the process, what we need to continue to pay attention to. And I'm not going to just like, move us forward into exercises that are going to end up being so much more challenging for you because you haven't actually done point A. And I'm just like, this is the same thing for you guys. The coach can't move you forward in macro adjustments or progressive overload with certain exercises and workouts if you haven't addressed point A. And if you're just lying to yourself and not being fully honest, it's only going to make things harder moving forward. If I was to walk into the office and be like, yeah, I'm doing it, I'm doing my exercises, and then he was to give me harder exercises, I could injure myself, 1. 2, he's going to see it right then and there when I'm doing these exercises that it is so hard for me to do because I didn't build upon the foundation of the exercises that we agreed upon doing first, which is more like band work and dead bugs of keeping my core stability and like all of the foundational things that I have to get in alignment before I can solely focus like on if I don't address my core first and the stability in my core, I'm going to overcompensate when I'm trying to focus on my shoulders. Okay. So same goes for you guys. Take extreme ownership. Walk into a meeting with your coach and be like, yeah, I haven't been doing these things. Do you know how much easier it is for the partnership at that point? Like it's so much easier. And I can just say that because I see it now firsthandly working with my chiropractor. He's like, thank you. Okay, we have to stay here. And before we can build upon the things, same thing goes for you guys. So just be open, be honest, take extreme freaking ownership. Like it is in your control. It is all you're doing. You sign up for the program, you invest for somebody to tell you to do the things. Do the things. But if you're not doing the things, take extreme ownership, tell your coach that, and then you guys can collaboratively work together on the game plan set forth. So it just honestly becomes so much more, your journey becomes so much more enjoyable when you can be just fully transparent, vulnerable, and honest with the person you're working with, because it can totally help you get to where you want to be faster. Because if you're somebody that's like, yes, I'm doing all of the things, and you're not seeing the results, there's a disconnect there. There's a big disconnect there. And you're just going to spend more time not getting to where you want to be because you're not being honest. So all that to be saying, guys, I hope you appreciate this podcast. I enjoyed this podcast as much as I may feel like I'm all over the place with talking, because, I share with you the caffeine. Anyway, I feel like it was a great podcast, especially the end point where it kind of wraps it all together. But I hope you enjoyed it. I thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. Please, if you could just take a couple minutes, leaving this podcast today and leaving a review, what you think about the episodes. If you've been a listener for some time now and you haven't left a review, I appreciate it so much. We don't run ads, as you guys see on this podcast platform. So like all word of mouth at this point to make this podcast get to other women that need to hear this, to get this to other listeners, and to get this on top charts so that people can see this and can be like, oh, what's this? I want to learn about this, and click into it. So thank you. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.
Real quick, the only ask I could ever have of you guys is to help spread the word so we can help more women lose body fat, build muscle, reach their goals, and feel insanely confident. And the only way we can do that is if you rate, review, and share this podcast. So the single thing I ask for you to do is if you could leave a review. It will take you 10 seconds, and it will mean the absolute world to me and may change the world of someone else.